Hi there, welcome to Levitate Piano Imagery. I'm Chia, and today we are going to talk about learning new music and learning it backwards. Now, take a moment to consider, how do you start learning a new piece? Many pianists might do something like this. Excitedly sit down at the piano, open the score to the first page, and start learning from the first measure. Of course, when you actually play a piece, that's how you do it. You play from the first measure to the last measure. But when a piece is new and unfamiliar, we often end up like this instead. I'll stop there. But as you can see, lots of hiccups, restarts, inefficient hand movements, basically hands not knowing where to go yet. And if we try to learn a piece this way, we'll just end up baking in all of these bad habits into our muscle memory, and then it'll take more effort afterwards to try to fix it. So instead, how should we start learning a piece? In this video, I'll show you a particularly effective learning method, which is now a staple in my learning toolbox. When learning a new piece, let's be clear about a very important learning outcome, which is, of course, knowing what notes to play next, but more importantly, also learning how to anticipate it ahead of time. I seldom see this being mentioned, but this ability to think ahead and anticipate the music into the future is, in my opinion, what distinguishes a pianist who merely just knows a piece from one who has actually mastered it. For example, when I play this measure of triplet 16th notes, I am already thinking ahead to the next measure. I'm thinking about the chords and melody in my mind, envisioning the phrasing, the expression, mentally preparing my hands for the motions that needs to do in order to tackle the big drums, the balance of voicings, etc. So that when I finally get to that measure, I am prepared to play how I want it to sound. Now, if the piece is new, which this was to me once upon a time, there's going to be an obvious problem. You can't learn to think ahead if you don't yet know what is ahead. So this is what learning a piece backwards is incredibly effective for. It really directly targets developing this kind of forward-looking and anticipatory ability. The basic idea of learning backwards is actually pretty simple. You learn or practice the next measure first before learning this measure, so that while playing this preceding measure, you can also practice thinking to the next measure, which you had already learned and practiced. So let me walk you through how I learned a piece backwards. I'll use this 2-measure 4-beat subphrase from Chopin's B minor sonata, starting from measure 39. True story, this learning backwards method was what I eventually found to work most effectively after having struggled for such a long time with this gnarly passage. Start with the last beat in the subphrase, or really any beat, just not the first, and play it out smoothly. Focusing on the auditory sounds, bum, bum, bum. Thinking of how the notes and chords look visually on the keyboard, this is E minor. Feeling the kinesthetic sensation of the hands, arm, body motions for the melody in the voice, a leap up a fifth, a leap down a sixth. And for those of you like me with a predilection towards photographic memory, you may also imagine what the score looks like in your head. With all of this auditory, visual, and kinesthetic sensory inputs, now backtrack to the preceding triplet as I play this beat, which is the third inversion of the B dominant 7 to E minor, I'm thinking ahead to the following triplet beat, which was, if you recall, in E minor, and it was also exactly what I just played a moment ago. While this would still fresh my mind, it's so much easier to recall and focus on these kinesthetic, visual, and auditory inputs while playing the preceding measure. Whereas if you keep trying to restart playing a treble spot from the beginning of the entire piece, you probably have forgotten how to play this by the time you actually reach this spot. I hope I've convinced you to learn pieces backwards instead of forwards. Give it a try, and I believe you'll find it as effective as I did. Learning a piece backwards helps to develop the anticipatory aspect of motor learning and audiation, that is, thinking ahead to the next beat or measure before playing it. You can try all kinds of variants to this idea, for example, backtracking through an entire passage, or just on pairs of measures, or applying it selectively to specific problem areas. It's also an excellent practice method to use at a later stage of learning for memorization or for relearning new technique. Till next time, happy backwards learning!